Alright gang, welcome back to our Triple Threat Challenge here on Zabby. We are picking up here where we left off in the last episode, which was finishing up the straw baling here. I also started the worker on harvesting the canola field. We are dropping straw on that canola field, which that's a little bit different. We normally don't do that, but we are dropping straw on that, so we'll have even more straw to sell or keep or whatever we decide to do with it when the time comes, right? So this is good, right? So we're going to have to... as soon as we're done here, head on over there, and I'm just going to kind of follow the harvester around there and bale up the canola straw as well. So, but anyway, how's everyone doing today? Hope you're all doing well. Things are good. Things are good. Looks like this field is done for the time being, so I'll go ahead and unload this last bale here. Got quite a number of bales out of this, so we'll head on up to the other field here. So today is relatively a busy day. We've got to get that other field harvested, of course, and that is our largest field. It is the one that takes us quite a bit of time. So we'll get that done today. Got to get the bales up. Realistically, we want to start plowing these fields up and getting them prepped and ready to go. Now, to be fair, the canola is, next month if we want to put canola back in. I'm not saying we do, but if we want to, it is next month. I kind of want to do buckwheat. We haven't done buckwheat yet. I kind of want to do that. So I might leave maybe the small field back behind us for that. I think I'll keep the big field for something that actually is going to produce quite a bit of money for us, like canola, right? And when I say produce quite a bit of money, I'm talking about just outright, right? It's going to produce a lot of money without having to turn it into anything. Okay, we are down. Looks like the worker missed a tiny bit there. It's probably because of that tree, but we'll come back and clean that up. Not a big deal. And we're on our way. So today, we got to get this field harvested. Like I mentioned already, the straw, we have to pick up all the straw when we're done with all of this. Ideally, we'd like to start plowing some of these fields up as well. The one thing to kind of note here, though, is we've got 3 contracts that we also need to do, right? There's 3 contracts that need to be done. Well, I guess they don't necessarily have to be done, but it would be dumb for us not to do them. So we should look into seeing what kind of contracts are out there as well for us and kind of try to work through this all together. Now, of course, the straw here, I'm going to have to do this one personally, but I can put a worker on doing plowing of the field. And we'll probably do that here soon enough because we will catch up to the harvester pretty soon. I'm going to need to bring the trailer out here so we can unload as well. But yeah, otherwise, we're just rocking and rolling, man. Going to friends of ours for the 4th of July. They always put on a really good show. He buys an absolute armada of fireworks every year. Supposed to potentially rain today, though, so who knows if that's going to cause any issues or mayhem or not. So we have $66,000 in the bank. It's a decent amount of money, but it's not a ton of money, right? It's not a ton of money, but it's a decent amount. There are quite a number of contracts out here, as a matter of fact. There's a lot. There really is. There's a lot. So we've got some harvesting we can continue to do, which maybe makes sense. There's the plowing. That's a gigantic plowing contract. The deadwood is pretty good. That's a large deadwood contract, and that only takes a few seconds, as we know. And then there's a gigantic baling contract, too. Holy smokes. And a bale wrapping, too. Those are gigantic. Those are big money. The problem is those are going to take a long, long time. I'm not against doing them. It's just going to take a very long time to do it, which is fine. But, if we're going to do that, I don't think we're going to be able to do it all in this specific episode we're working on now. I think we're going to need more than 2 episodes, really. 1.5 episodes, I guess, in July. I don't know what the worker is doing here. I have no idea what they're doing. So, you know what? Let's just... Oh, they're almost full. That's probably what they're doing. They're just freaking out about it. So, you know what? Let's just get this unloaded here. Really would like to upgrade the harvester at some point, too. It's a great harvester because it's very cheap and inexpensive, but I really, really don't like it. I hate how it jitters when it starts and stops, and it just takes a while to get up to speed. I don't like it, so we use it often because, well, we kind of have to. But I would love to have a different harvester here in the near future. We're getting a lot of hours on it too, right? A lot of these have a lot of hours on it, right? So the maintenance for these are going to get more and more expensive as we move forward. So, yeah, we need to probably consider some upgrades soon enough. Or it's just going to continue to cause or cost us an arm and a leg to fix and repair these. Alright, let's put this back on a worker and see what happens here. Who knows what they're going to do? They always have a mind of their own. Yeah, they're just leaving bits and pieces, but whatever. It is what it is. Alright, I'm actually just going to pull this off to the side for a bit here because we've already caught up to the worker and you know, the worker's slow, so it's going to take them a while to get turned back around and get going again. So we'll leave this up here for right now. I'm just going to unhook this. And we're going to go grab the trailer here and we're going to pick up all those bales that we do have on the ground in the other field. And then I'm going to set a worker off over there on getting that field all plowed up and ready to go. Really, we need to start utilizing workers a lot more in this series than we have been. And today's one of those days we're going to do that. Now it's July. I don't think there's anything specifically that we need to sell today. I don't think there is anything in July. I don't think we have any soybeans or anything in there. I don't think we have anything that sells in July. So probably not a whole lot of money to be made, but we probably need to move around some of the peas again from the greenhouse, right? All right, well, that was already set to unload and wasn't reset. I thought it was, but it wasn't. All right, let's get this fixed here. There we go. So off this small little field, I think we got like 7 bales out of this. Which is pretty good, man. That from this tiny little field, getting 7 bales off of that, that's pretty daggone good. And these are large bales, right? It's a lot of straw. There might not be many peas in there, though, since we didn't jump months. I mean, we did jump months, actually. You know, in the last episode, we did part in June and then a little bit here in July. So it probably is pretty close to being full. It is full. So we need to move those. We need to move those. So we'll do some of this, you know, maintenance type of work that we kind of have to do. I mean, I could put a worker on doing some of this, but it probably would be easier for me to do it and put a worker on working in an actual field, right? That's at least how I always think about it. You know, they can certainly, you can have them go places and drive places and drop things off. You can have them do it. But sometimes they run into stuff and they get into issues and then you're just sitting there wasting money, right? So I'd rather have the workers work in a field and have me do some of this type of work. Just because I think it's a little bit easier, I guess. I'm just going to drop this here for right now because I don't know where to do with all these bales. We've got lots of bales here. We need to figure something out for these bales, I think. Okay, so we'll hook this back up to the baler for now, and then I'm going to flip to the JCB. Worker is almost full again, but they probably can do one more pass. So I'm just going to drop this canola off into the silos here, and we'll go get the peas so that way that greenhouse can continue to produce and work for us. While we're doing that, let's just verify my statement here. I don't think, like I said, we have anything to sell. Peas, no. Oh, they're not bad, actually. You can sell them for $6.11, actually. That's actually better than I thought it was. We did sell some peas, I think, in the last episode, but rye, no. Sorghum, no. Spelt, no. And sunflowers, not terrible, but probably no. Really, if we're going to sell anything, it's going to be the peas. Because $6.11 it's not terrible. That's not a terrible price. But November is coming sooner than later. And that's going to be worth a lot more money. We might sell a thing a piece. I don't know. We might. I think we do it. Let's sell one. Why not? Who cares? Let's sell one. Preserved Food Factory. I don't even know where that is. Oh, I think I know where it is. It's where we've been going, and that's... Well, just run right into that. See, good job. And that's where I need to go, or it's the area that I have to buy the oil factory, the oil mill, for our crop, right? So you get a randomized crop. That's part of Threat 1, and to sell any of that crop, you have to turn it into a byproduct, and you have to buy the map-built byproduct factory or mill or whatever. And for us, since we got poppy, we're going to make poppy seed oil. And so we have got to buy the oil mill, which is not cheap. It is not cheap at all. But this would be nice to get this. Now, the used market, there's a couple things out here, but it's not really anything that we specifically need. It's not any kind of piece of equipment that we would use frequently, or it's not any kind of equipment that we need to upgrade or anything like that. So, this would be nice, this flatbed trailer here, but we already have a nice flatbed trailer. I don't think we need to spend the money for that. And everything else is just kind of extra stuff that we're probably not going to be doing on this series, right? So, well, if we are going to be doing it, it's going to be much later on in the series, so there's really no reason for us to buy it right now and just hold on to it when it's going to be quite a while before something like this would even be useful to us. And I say something like this, really the only thing I'm talking about is the tedder here. The weeder, I guess we could utilize it for some contract type of stuff, but again, I don't think it's really worth spending that kind of money on a weeder for a contract, for only utilizing it for contracts, right? We're plowing up the field every single time, so we're not really going to have the weeds all that often, and we already have a sprayer, right? In case we do get any weeds for whatever reason, right? We buy a field or something. So, in my eyes, I don't think it's necessary. Come on, UPS-like truck. Now, we do almost have enough money to buy the soybean field that I was talking about, right? I was talking about buying this soybean field, which I think is going to be ready to harvest next month, I think. So it should be a pretty nice turnaround there. I think it was next month that it was ready. But anyway, doesn't matter, even if it wasn't. We pretty much have enough money for it. I think it's $68,000. So when we sell these peas, we're going to have enough money for it, for sure. So we'll probably end up buying that today. Now, that field I'm talking about is one of the fields that we do have to have to complete Threat 1, right? Now, if you're new and you stumbled across this, it's kind of complex, but everything's down below in the description. I tried to explain it as best I can, and I'm not going to go into it in detail because I've done it multiple times, but from a very short, high level, it basically, at the very beginning, you had to use a randomizer, and you got a random crop, and then you had to buy every field on the map. You have to buy every field on the map that crop was on when you first started. It's obviously not going to be the same throughout the entire series, right? Farmers change crops around all the time, and realistically, you should change crops around for your soil, right? You shouldn't be putting in the same crop over and over and over again. But you can do that in this game. So in essence, what I'm trying to get at is, the very beginning, you got a randomized number of fields. Some people got like 15 fields. Some people got 4 or 5. It was luck of the draw. I ended up getting 6. So I have to buy those fields to at least complete part of Threat 1, right? There's multiple parts to each threat. And like I mentioned, it's all down below. But if you do have a question about it, and if you're new and stumbled across this and something doesn't make sense, just make sure you let me know down below in the comments. I will get back to you. It might take me a couple of days. Life, as I've mentioned many, many times, gets in the way sometimes, but I do reply to every single comment. Sometimes it just takes me a couple of days to do so. I guess I should have the beacon on. I don't know why I didn't have the beacon on. All right, that got us up to 72,557. I don't think I mentioned that, but yeah, pretty nice. Pretty nice. That's a good amount of money. That helps. That helps tremendously. Now, another thing with this field that we bought here that we have our greenhouse on, there's a lot of trees on this as well that we could, do something with. It probably is not going to be, well, I can tell you it's not going to be happening right now. It'll be more of a winter type of thing for us to potentially do. Get rid of some of the trees around here, right? And realistically, probably by winter. I'm going to get rid of this tree and this tree here and then take this field and kind of expand it out here and connect it here. Now, it's not a huge expansion, but, you know, it makes it more of a rectangular type of field, with the exception, I guess, of this around the side of the house here. But all these trees right here, we also own all of these. So technically, if we wanted to make it an awkward shaped field, we remove these trees, we could expand the field out like this, go around here, do the same thing here, and back around. Now, the problem here is we've got these rocks here, right? So we would need to get a... what's it called? I want to say stone picker. Stone picker's not the right word. I don't remember what it's called. But anyway, you know what I'm talking about. I'm blanking on it. I'll think of it in the middle of the episode here. I'll think of it, and it'll just come to me. But we're gonna, like, a stone breaker basically is what we're going to need, right? We're gonna need that to be able to get rid of those, so that way we can expand the field if we wanted to. Maybe we don't, though, right? It would make it a little weird, and the worker would have a hard time working that field if we did all of that, right? They would run into issues. I can already tell you that. They would run into a ton of issues. So, may not be in the best interest to do that, but we could always chop the trees down to sell them, right? Or turn them into wood chips or whatever. Now, I bet the worker is full, because we did a lot of talking and we drove all over the place. They are full, so wasting a little bit of money right now by not getting the worker unloaded, but we really only have one trailer, so it is what it is. Dump the rest of the peas in here. This should get us around 20-ish thousand liters of peas in the silo, so that's good. Alright, we can go ahead and get started here on doing the baling again. Of course, there are going to be spots here where we're going to have to just drive around for the time being until we're able to kind of fix it, right? Gonna need to service this tractor here pretty soon. Probably gonna have to service it today, honestly. I think if we wait much longer than doing today, then we're going to be really paying the price here for how much it's going to cost to fix this, right? So but you know what we have to do. We've got to get this field done. We're going to be working this field for most of today's episode, and then maybe we'll get into doing some contracts after that. And I think it really depends on how much time we have and if we want to do a third episode here in July or not. I don't think I want to do an episode just to do contracts. You know, we sometimes are in that situation to an extent in the winter months, so I don't necessarily know if I want to do that here in the summer months. But you know, if worse comes to worse, and it's a situation where we are really long into an episode here, maybe we just do some of the smaller contracts, even though they're not worth as much money. Maybe we just do some of the smaller contracts just to kind of fulfill the allowed contract amount, right? We're only allowed 3 contracts per month, regardless of how many episodes we do. So we feel like we should do some contracts regardless. But would it be in the best interest to do the larger ones that make us more money? Yes, but it would more than likely mean we'd have to do an episode where it's only doing contracts, which I'm not quite sure I want to do that. I guess the way we could split it apart is get this field harvested and done, and don't worry about plowing the 2 fields up until the next episode. I guess that's how we could work around it. I don't know. I'll think about it during the time lapse. We'll figure out what we're going to do. Well, the worker did a pretty good job. They just missed that little bit over there by that tree that is always missed. But otherwise, did good. Even with this plow on here that really, this JCB doesn't really have enough power for it. The Doltzfar does, but the JCB really struggles a little bit. It still did a pretty decent job, though, and it didn't take too long. So, still progressing well on the canola harvest over there. I was trying to be as efficient as possible, so I was out there doing lots of things at the same time, but you know, I think we're doing pretty good there. Probably a little more than halfway through that harvest, and I'm just going to let the worker continue to do their thing there. We're going to look at doing some contracts. I think we are going to do another episode here, just based solely on the fact that, well, we got that field plowed up, but we know we need to put some lime down on that field, right? We need to prep all these fields and everything else. So now, could we do that over the next couple of episodes? Sure we could, of course. But if I want to put canola back in one of the fields, realistically, probably the one we're harvesting right now, you know, it's ready to be put in next month in August. Doesn't mean we have to. I can do it in September as well, but if possible, I'd probably like to put it in August, I think. So, we got that going. I'm just going to leave the other tractor down there for the time being. We'll move stuff around as we need to there. Let's do a contract or two here, and then we can save one or two, depending on which one we decide to do now, you know, for the next episode, right? So there's quite a few harvesting contracts out here. Now there's a few more that have popped up. There's a peas and a spinach. The peas is actually not a terrible price right now, so maybe that's the one we should consider doing. It is a large field, though. That is a very, very large field. That harvester is not the fastest thing in the world, I can say that much. So I think I'm going to pass on that, at least for today. Maybe we do it next episode, right? Maybe we do it then, but yeah, I think I'm going to pass, at least at current. There's a mowing one we can do, which is very close to us. I do have a mower. It's not the largest mower in the world, but I do have a mower that would work. It would take us a while to do it. The plowing ones, really, we could get these done pretty quickly, I feel like, with the size of the plow that we have. So perhaps this $5,541 one is the one to go with here, because that's a big chunk of change, right? And that's what I would like to do. During that time, I also did some service to our Doltzfar. Obviously, it needed it. It's very expensive, as you can tell. This baling one is an out with so much money, but that field is gigantic. It's one of the biggest fields on the map, and would take a long time. We could do it, but they want round baling, so we'd have to borrow the equipment, and yeah, that's just round baling takes even longer. So I'm thinking I'm gonna pass on that one, even though it's a really good amount of money. I think I'm still gonna pass that. The deadwood, it seems like it's a no-brainer. It's $1,200. It's super easy to do. Number of trees 8. It would take us a matter of seconds to do that. So I think that's a no-brainer. Now we don't necessarily have to do it today, though, right? Let me go look at Field 10. Let's just jump to Field 10 and see what Field 10 looks like. It was pretty big. Yeah, that's a relatively large-sized field. We'd probably have to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, 9 passes, maybe? Now, I could put a worker on doing that, too. Like, it doesn't necessarily have to be me. I could do a worker doing that, right? You know what? I'm going to get this one back down here, actually. I'm going to hook this back up to the trailer. I'll just use both tractors down there. Yeah, I'm kind of thinking that plowing one makes a lot of sense, honestly. That's a lot of money, right? That's a lot of money. The field that we're talking about buying that I was talking about earlier is 166, and it's 66,000. So we only just have enough money right now. After doing the service to the tractor, of course, that dropped us down lower. And we're using the worker right now, and potentially 2 workers, excuse me, here soon. We did use 2 workers for a while during that time lapse. You know, so that's a lot more money that's chewing through, right? So, kind of thinking I might put a worker on doing some of that plowing, and then I kind of take over for the harvesting here. Might do that. Would that be smart? I don't know. But I might do that. There's that little jitter thing I'm talking about that it does. I think we might consider it. I think we might consider doing that. Just did like a skid there, didn't I? You see that? No, you know what? I tell you what. We're going to do the plowing. We'll do that contract. I'm going to put the worker back doing this. We'll do the contract. It shouldn't take us long to do it. It shouldn't. It really shouldn't. Which means I'm going to use the Dolzfar for it. The Dolzfar is just a more powerful tractor, so I'm going to use that. Now, I can speed things up by turning it around backwards and kind of cheating the system, right? A lot of you have mentioned that, and you can just cheat the system because it's painful to watch, but, you know, whatever. I don't want to go super unrealistic on this series. I mean, we definitely have some unrealistic things. I can't say that, but you get what I mean. That is just, that would never fly in the real life, right? So, I'm not sure that I will probably ever do that behind plowing again unless we're doing some kind of competitive thing and we're you know, a crunch for time, right? So I apologize if that does bother you that I go the slow way when it comes to the plowing, but just try to keep it a little bit more realistic there. Yeah, let's do this. Field 10, it shouldn't take us long. It really shouldn't. Put the beacons on. We'll go down here to field 10. We'll get started on that. Okay. We've got such a wide width on this plow. That's why I'm saying it shouldn't take a terrible amount of time. It really shouldn't. I'm going to go this way. I haven't gone this way yet. I think I was spot on the money there. Probably about 9, maybe 8 passes, and we'll be done with this field, I think. Pretty much spot on. You know, I could do that again if I tried. I don't think I could guess that again if I tried, right? Well, since this is such a slow process, and I know a lot of people have said that they don't like the plowing portion because it takes so long, I totally get it, but we'll put a time lapse in again here, and we'll get this going, and it won't take long at all in a time lapse. Okay, we're almost done with this. I was struggling with this field a little bit here, so the Doltzvar was even struggling with the plow here on this field, unfortunately. So I had to put it on manual, and then we were just having all kinds of issues with the manual. I had to keep going back and forth into the menu, so I apologize for that, but nonetheless, we are almost done with this one. The worker just now, as you see in the right-hand corner, finished harvesting that field. That's a good thing, because rain is on its way. I don't think I even noticed at the beginning. Was it there at the beginning of the episode? Maybe it was. Says it's not going to be here till 1900, though. Wasn't going to be a problem no matter what. We were going to get that field done before 1900. Wasn't going to be a huge situation. I just didn't know exactly when it was coming, but yeah. So we're almost done with this one, this field here. So this will be a nice little payday for us. This will be a nice boost to the bank account, and as I mentioned, will allow us to buy that soybean field, which is great. May not end up buying it today, might end up saving that for the next episode. We are going to do another episode here in July, based solely on the fact that we still have 2 contracts to do. We still have to get the rest of the straw up on that other field. We need to plow that other field that we just finished harvesting up. And then obviously we need to prep those fields, right? We got to put the lime down and all that good stuff, right? So, still a lot left to do, if I'm honest with you. All right, we just have to touch up maybe this little edge here where there's this little tiny strip where the field is a little bit too wide for, well, I guess it could be too wide or too skinny, I guess, whichever way you want to look at it, for the plow width, right? All right, so that's all done. Now, I do know we're going to have to do a little bit of touch-up work with the harvester there. The worker may be done, or they may think they're done, but there's going to be a little bit of touch-up work that still needs to happen. So I'm sure I'll talk about this again probably in tomorrow's Island Preservation, but I did watch a bit of a recent video from Daggerwind where he was talking about, you know, what he, or what everyone else for that matter, wants to see in the next Farming Simulator iteration. And one of the things that somebody brought up, and I think it's a fantastic idea, I don't know why I never thought out of it beforehand, was real working, breathing, livable maps. In other words, you know, right now, you're the only one farming. There is nobody else doing any farming, right? If a field is harvested, it's just one minute, it's got crop in it, the next minute, there's nothing there, right? It's harvested, it's on, you know, it's all done. I would love to see that. I'd love to just be driving by here and all of a sudden, look, there's a worker right there spraying their field with all the weeds, right? They're getting their weeds all taken care of, right? You don't have that right now. I think that's a great option, a great thing to want and strive for. Now, it's probably difficult to get something like that to work, but yeah, I think that's definitely something we all really need to see at this point, right? There's been enough Farming Simulator iterations now. We really need to see a massive change, and that would be one of them, in my opinion. It just would make everything feel a little more alive here, right? It doesn't feel like you're alone. Now, I understand there are cars driving around, so that makes it not feel like you're alone, and you've got some people walking around too now, but you never have any farmers doing anything, right? If I'm out there doing something, if I'm harvesting a field, and I've got canola in it, for example, there are other canola fields on the map. There should be people out there harvesting those fields as well, right? Doesn't necessarily mean that every single field has to have something going on in it, but there should be something going on in some of the fields, right? All right, and then there's a little bit, I think, down here at the very, very, very end that was missed. So yeah, we probably got, I don't know, close to half of the field baled up here. Maybe 1/3 of the field baled up. I don't know, but we can take care of the rest of that in the next one too. So in the next episode, we'll have 2 contracts to do. We'll have to get the rest of this field baled up, then get the field plowed up. You know, maybe prep both fields if we have the time to do it. If not, we can always prep them before we do the drilling in the next episode, right? At least this field specifically, because I said we were probably putting canola back in this field. Field down there in the distance, I'm not quite sure what I want to do with it. I feel like I should put something in there. But if I want to do any of the new type of stuff, like the buckwheats, etc., right, I'm going to have to wait till next season, right? So, and if I put anything in there now, you know, they're not ready to harvest until after the planting season's over for those specific crops I'm talking about, right? Example, if I put canola in down there, I don't harvest canola until July, August. It's already past the bean, the buckwheat, or whatever, you know, seeding period, right? So, got to make a decision there if I want to just let that field just sit there for a little while, or if I want to put something in it pretty quickly, right? But we will make that decision in the next episode. We're going to leave this one here, gang. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you smash the like, subscribe button on the case you've yet to do so. They are free to do, and it helps me out an absolute ton. If you have any thoughts, questions, comments, or ideas, feel free to let me know down below. I'm happy to get back to you on those. I want to thank each and every single one of my members for all their continued support. There's a link down below if you want early access to videos like this one, including a members series, where we go through different ideas that are in my brain, and I try to incorporate any thoughts and input that you may have if the series becomes a true series. Make sure you check out the second channel, not Farming Simulator related. I do other game playthroughs, mostly story type of playthroughs normally. Occasionally I'll do some challenges, but yeah, if you want to see some other things I'm doing, check that out. Check out the Discord out. As always, you can share anything that you're working on, images, progress, live streams, YouTube videos, whatever. There's option for you to do that there. And I try to post everything that I do on both channels there as well, so you're welcome to cherry pick some of the other channel if it interests you. But yeah, with all that said, we'll leave it here. Thanks so much for watching, as always. Thanks so much for your continued support, and I'll see you next time.